What are you doing for mindfulness practice though, to like really get your mind in that state and be resilient?
I think I just do my version of like meditation in the
Yeah.
morning and at night, like more of like, we kind of all the same things that we talk about. I take some breaths, focus on my breath, and it goes to a little bit of gratitude, looking at my life, like what am I grateful for? And then I kind of go through my own, like, what is my day going to look like, even though it might not look that way, but like what would I like my day to look like? And then the same thing kind of before bed. What was I grateful for today? Take some breaths, and how did my day go? I'm kind of playing a movie through my mind. How did my day go? Did I like it? Did I not? What am I going to change? So that's to the extent right now of like my mindfulness practice, I would say.
And it's really important to take stock of days, right? To look back on what you liked, what you didn't. When I was away for a few weeks not long ago and had like some time to myself in nature, and it was the first time in a little while I'd done that, just because I wasn't traveling as much. I did travel during the pandemic. It just, I wasn't getting into Europe and like doing as much hiking, but I realized that I wasn't really taking stock of what was going on, and days were just rushed through. Yeah. And it was like rushing to get to bed. And I realized I wasn't feeling as fulfilled. And, I wasn't really, stopping to say what worked and what didn't, and how could I change that? And I do think that, you as an athlete saying that, and me always preaching that to a lot of patients, it's insanely important to stop sometimes, to take those minutes, even at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, and really evaluate how things are going. And constantly do that and look for constant small improvements. It's the Kaizen approach of like just gradual small improvements. You get better and you get better, you get healthier, you get optimized. But a lot of times we run into this like rat race of the world. And I mean, you travel a ton for NHL, for hockey and everything. You're going between Canada down. I saw you playing in MSG, right? You invited me over. That was awesome to see you in Madison Square Garden. But you're traveling a ton, you're busy, and you're training so much. Like, how do you find the time? Because I want to hear it from you, because then other people who just have like, and I'm not going to say just, but like, don't have, where they're traveling so much and they're like constantly training. I want to show that you could do it too, right? If you're a professional athlete training around, that a normal person that's not doing as much can always find the time. Is it simply that your priority is there, or you're using like different hacks to always like find the time to do it? What is it?
Yeah, I think I try to use my own creativity, which when I say what I do, it's not going to be that creative. It's just kind of obvious. And I think a lot of it has to do with like what I value and my intention. I just want to say to you, like, so much of what you've taught me in our conversations, like, it has influenced me so much. And one thing, like, what I look at your guys' clinic, like a lot of what you guys do, there's a lot of precision things that can take you to the next level, optimize. But one thing I appreciated so much was you sent me that packet over email, like what you guys have, and just like, oh my gosh, like how deep is this? There's so many things that you can do, and there's so many foundations, just like be balanced. So I think that everything that went into my mind, my conversations with you, my life experience, like basically how I live my life now is I try to just make it a state of being, like it's whole. So like when I'm driving to the rink, I'm listening to books, or I'm listening to little podcasts or different little things. Like I'm always trying to brainwash myself to like think about being healthy, think about being a good athlete, like the music. Like my brother gets so mad at me because he says like, I can't listen to music around you because I'm so strict about it. Like if there's the wrong lyric or it's the wrong vibe, like I won't do it. Like the artists that I listen to, like they're talking about concepts like keep going, or like, all these things that are deeper, like, more like your post the other day about the vision board, what it was when you're younger versus now, like artists talking about that. Like everything to me is just like a brainwash into like, I'm healthy, I'm going to be a good athlete. I'm doing that. So I'm always trying to, on the way to the rink, I mean, if you want me to go through my routine, like I kind of wake up and I get up and I go outside, I have my water and I do my little meditation, gratitude, breath. How's my day going to go? Then like I kind of, do my version of my work. I watch my video and watch hockey. And then, I drive to practice, and practice. I'm listening to a podcast, a book, or have you heard of that app? It's called Optimize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I do a little, cliff note on that, or just whatever, something to be like, all right, like my mindset is about that. Yeah. And then I go to practice, I have another drive back, do the same thing. And then, I get home, have my lunch, and, I listen to a little music that I like, that's brainwashing, same things, keep going, life is about health or all that stuff. And then it's kind of like, a little meditation at night. It's just like, I really use my driving time or yeah, it's really my driving time, to be honest. I feel like I just optimize that in the morning. Like I always just make sure, move the needle a little bit every day, get one more little bit of knowledge. And I feel like that compounded over time adds up, and it's just become a habit. Like I don't know how to go through my day without like getting a little bit more. And I think maybe that was the hardest part. If you want a hack, I know you know all this already, but I think for me or anyone that's listening, I think the hardest part was just to like build that habit, because there was a time in life where that wasn't my habit. But once it became my habit, like then it's just easy because it's running on autopilot. And I think that just, and that goes back to a little bit of Paul. Paul taught me to like think about, what do I value and why am I doing it? And like from that, when I got more clarity on like what I want to be, how I want to use my time, I started to build habits. And yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
I love that idea of you using brainwash in a positive. Most people like, oh, they're brainwashed. They drink the Kool-Aid and it's a negative, right? You got brainwashed into negativity in a sense.
Yeah.
But the same, like everything has polarity. You could brainwash yourself into positivity, into constantly learning. Like right now in the background of my screen, I have little subliminal messages flashing there, positive. Like that's what I do. These are my hacks.
I have I always, like, you can see in the back there, I got a little TV. Like I always have the beach, or I have different things playing like that as well. I'm the same way. It's
so important what you do in your environment. Like, again, I look around my friends' places sometimes, and it is like, it's just cluttered. It's not like something they're using for usefulness. A lot of times they're just like things that are there that I find myself even feeling like a little bit like, my mind isn't right. But when you do the clear minimalism with positivity around, like right now, there's like inhale, exhale, good vibes, like on my wall. Like, I don't do that because it's like, kind of like, because it actually works. There is something to be said about that.
I think it's so real. And I want to be really clear. Like, people talk about that, like, I can't even remember the word. I've heard so many different terms, but like, I'm not trying to be, and I know you're not trying to be too, like, I'm not trying to be some foo-foo fairy, like everything is perfect. Like I get enough drama every day with some of my relationships. I'm still working through that. It's hard sometimes during the season with, whether it's teammates, coaches, whatever, like nothing's perfect. Like you have your tough times, and I'm around enough negativity that like, I feel like if I don't balance it out with some positivity, even with that being said, I'm so grateful for the organization and all the people I'm around, my family. But, there's hard times. I feel like if I don't, like, it's not even brainwashing. If I don't provide like the other side of the coin to like balance that out, like I'm going to drown. So I feel like that's why I use. And I think, I think it's crazy. Like, one of my favorite rappers, Big Sean, like I started to like look into, you're talking about the minimalism and stuff like that in your environment. Like I've been reading a lot of stuff on Marie Diamond. She's like a feng shui master, and Big Sean has like talked a lot about her. And I think it's cool. It makes sense. And it's not anything crazy. It's just like, why do we have so much stuff? Why'd you put that thing right there? What does it mean to you? Like, all right, I get that. It's nothing crazy. It's just pretty obvious, So I'm into all that.
Yeah. And you're right. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, you're into that new age stuff and positivity. And like, you are just like living in a fantasy idealistic world. And I always counter that I'm incredibly like logical and grounded in many ways. Like when I run my business, it's not like that. I realize when things are going bad, when like, we're not, performing as well, when the KPIs aren't there. I'm not just like, all right, I'll do an affirmation and things will get better. Right.
Yeah.
No. I'll continue to do my affirmations because I do believe they make me a better person to address the real problems out there, to not like overlook it and say, oh, that's a good thing. Like, no, but it could push us to do something better. But I'm a realist, and knowing there's a lot of things out there in the world that are bad. We know this too, but you're right. We got to be able to counter it, because I believe, health is balance. It's homeostasis. It's not like constant good things. You need stress in life.